All right, it's that time again. We're back with another 7-round mock draft. We haven't had one in a few days. Let's jump back into the streets. The Pittsburgh Steelers are at the forefront of conversation right now. They've yet to sign a quarterback at time of recording. No Rodgers, but my expectation is Aaron Rodgers. They do have Mason Rudolph under contract right now on the team. Whatever you think about that is whatever you think about that. I don't think that's more than a Jameis Winston type of a play where the Giants obviously signed Jameis Winston. They already had DeVito on the roster. They go get Russell Wilson. Mason Rudolph is no more than Jameis Winston for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Today, we're going to do a 7-round Pittsburgh Steelers mock draft. I appreciate y'all tapping in every single morning for the Draft Ranking Show, 7 a.m. Eastern Time, something around the NFL Draft 2025, 2026, fantasy, football, something, right? Maybe talk about UFL. We might talk about UFL one of these days because the UFL, it's back. It's back. 10-week season for the UFL. All right, enough of that. Let's jump in. Pop the screen up. If you're watching on YouTube, you can follow along to the draft. We're going to have a 7-round mock draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who pick at number 21 overall. They currently hold 21, 83, 123, 156, 185, and 229. Just 6 selections in the NFL draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers currently in this one. So that's where we're going to go. The things that the Steelers have done so far this offseason: they traded for DK Metcalf. They add Darius Slay. They sign Kenny Gainwell to that backfield duo with Jalen Warren. I think they need a quarterback. Like I said, I'm kind of penciling in Rodgers at this point. Defensive back they could go to again. You're looking at running back amongst other things. All right, let's get this thing underway. We only got 10 minutes every single day, less than 10 minutes. Let's get it. All right. Wow, that was quick. I mean, we used Mock Draft Database the other day for one of these mocks, and it took forever. I forget how fast and how efficient using the PFF Mock Draft tool is. So in this iteration, looks like Shedeur Sanders fell to 18. So in the real draft, if he falls to 18, I think you could potentially be looking at the Steelers potentially moving up, if they do like Shedeur. I don't know if they do or not. 19, Kelvin Banks. 20, Emeka Egbuka. Some of the best available players at the positions of need. Quarterback looks like Jackson Dart is still available. Look at running back. Hampton's still available. Traven Henderson's still available. Quinshon Judkins is still available. I'm going to take quarterback off of the list here. I'm also going to pull up DB. Looks like Malachi Starks is available. Maxwell Hairston. He's getting a lot of conversations lately into the first round because he was the fastest man. I understand it. I get it. But I'm not quite there. So, reminder of free agency. The Steelers added Juan Thornhill. It was a very good draft pick a couple years ago by Cleveland. They have Minka Fitzpatrick on the back end with Deshaun Elliott. Their cornerbacks right now on paper, it's Joey Porter Jr., second-round pick a couple years ago with Darius Slay. Behind Darius Slay is Corey Trice, very athletic seventh-round pick out of Purdue from 2023. They added nickelback Brandon Eccles from the Jets to play in front of Beanie Bishop. So I do think cornerback is here on the market. I think defensive line is also here. I know Cam Hayward's the GOAT. You know, he's entering himself into the Steelers GOAT conversation, like the legends of the Steelers, right? The Franco conversation, the Bradshaw conversation, things of this nature, Lynn Swann, etc. But they could still use a defensive tackle. He's only been around for 100 years. I think edge is also of question as well. I'm going to click D tackle just because it's a very dense defensive tackle class. I think Walter Nolan's very interesting for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not sure if he meets their thresholds off the field, but it is available right here. For me in round 1, I think a lot of people are circling running back for a number of reasons, in that we just saw how important Najee was to this roster. I think Dart is sort of a play here. It's an interesting play. You get Rodgers, that happens. If you don't get Rodgers, it's 100% Dart. We'll just clarify that. If you don't get Rodgers before the draft, I think Dart's 100% the play right here. But because we don't have that, because the running back class is deep, and because we are picking at 83, I think you can get a good back at 83. I think you go defensive tackle. So let's take off running back. Let's take off cornerback, and let's look at defensive tackle. And it's 2 names for me. It's Derek Harmon and it's Walter Nolan. Like I said, I don't think Walter Nolan probably is going to clip the off-field stuff for Pittsburgh. I don't know. I don't think. I'm just based on my knowledge and communications, I don't think he's going to hit those. I think it's going to be over Darius Alexander or Derek Harmon play. I'm going to go Darius Alexander from Toledo. It's going to be viewed as a reach. I don't care. It's the play. Darius Alexander from Toledo. Let's move on to round 3. They pick 83. The picks that came off right before them: defensive lineman. Joshua Farmer from Florida State, Vernon Broughton from Texas, and Jordan Phillips, one of my favorites from Maryland. This guy's a tanker inside at nose tackle for Maryland. Trey Harris goes at 82. I'm looking at running back. I brought up running back before. Now you can see what's available at running back here in round 3. It's RJ Harvey from Central Florida, 5'10", 5'11", 205, 206 pounds, 4.40 running. Back-to-back 1,400 yard season, 1,700 yards this year, 20 touchdowns. DJ Giddens from Kansas State, another interesting one. Bashal Tootin from Virginia Tech doesn't quite fit the backfield that I would assume in Pittsburgh. They could wait and go after a bigger body. I think 2 guys that Pittsburgh's going to love is RJ Harvey and Jarquez Hunter. Jarquez Hunter from Auburn, a guy that you talk to coaches. He's the guy that everyone's like, wow, I circle him on the sheet. Like he's a quintessential like Jalen Warren type, right? So I think it's between Harvey and Jarquez Hunter. Harvey would have to be a 3rd round pick. I think Jarquez Hunter probably comes into conversation if you move back, or I don't know if he falls to 123. So we're going to take Harvey here so I can feel good about it. RJ Harvey, pick 83, joins Jalen Warren and Kenny Gainwell. Let's check and see if Jarquez fell. He did fall. So he falls. That's a potential thing you can consider in round 4. I'm not going to do it, obviously, because we already just did it. Now I'm going to go look at corner. I think you could also make a conversation of just like checking the interior offensive line. There's nothing here that I really care about. Seth McLaughlin will be in the next round. Tyler Cooper will be in the next round. Noah Williams. Zy Alexander is a Pittsburgh guy. And when I say it like that, it's because it's Pittsburgh. I mean, everybody knows. Everyone listening that's a Steeler fan knows there's certain guys that fit the Pittsburgh archetype and certain guys that don't. Elijah Huzzie, a guy I think is probably going to be available at the next pick, is going to be my selection if we get there and he's available. He's a great nickel. They go out and add Brendan Eccles. I think Elijah Huzzie is a player that you put into this conversation. So I'm going to skip out on that. I'm going to wait for Huzzie. I don't like any of the interior offensive linemen. I'm going to go to edge, outside linebacker, stand-up outside backer. Savion Jones from LSU, very interesting here. Let's see here. Antoine Powell Ryland is like schematically, he's a fit for Pittsburgh. I think he's a good rotational outside linebacker. I know he was a 3rd round pick on DeMarvin Leal from A&M, but to me, it's not. He doesn't fit properly in that outside linebacker, that Watt, Highsmith, Nate Herbig role. I think you can add a 4th guy to that rotation. Just with injuries that they saw last year, adding a 4th would be, I think, awesome. So I think Antoine Powell Ryland is actually very interesting here. I'm going to do that in round 4. Antoine Powell Ryland. He had double-digit sacks last year at Virginia Tech, one of the best edge rushers in football this past year. Round 5 comes around and Quinn Ewers is still available. I don't know if that's completely realistic. I think he's probably gone, worst case scenario, mid-3rd. So I'm going to go ahead and ignore that. I do think quarterback should be of the conversation here. A guy that's gotten a lot of conversation is Tyler Shook. I don't think he'll be available either. I think this is wrong for those paying attention. I think this is completely wrong on behalf of PFF. So I'm going to go ahead and take actually Kyle McCord. I think Kyle McCord's a great guy to take and put behind a Rodgers type because he doesn't pose a real threat, but McCord has an arm, and McCord's a guy that can learn, I think, in a year and kind of get into an opportunity. So there's that. All right, we're still looking. Where did I say I was going to go? DB. I'm going to go back to cornerback here. Oh boy, we got on Elijah Huzzie. Mac McWilliams is probably a guy that I like right here. A little more outside than I remember. I thought he played a little bit in the slot. I'm going to go Mac McWilliams here from UCF. He was a guy down at the Senior Bowl that, again, big jaw jacker, big talker. They need a cornerback in Pittsburgh for sure to come around here in the late part of the draft. Again, you're talking about Darius Slay, who spent time obviously in Detroit, went to Philly this past couple of years. Now he's in Pittsburgh. Corey Trice, he's been injured for sure this time at Purdue. Hasn't quite he's obviously probably surpassed expectation for the last couple of years, but he hasn't really taken the next step. Joey Porter's year 1. I think you continue to throw darts at that position. With the last pick here at pick 229, we got to get in and out of this door right now. Let's look at receiver. Let's just see if there's anything there. Nothing there. Don't care. Don't like it. Let's check out tight end. Right now, the Steelers have Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, obviously Connor Hayward. They added Donald Parham. I'm not going to go there. Let's probably go back to the interior offensive line. Let's see if we can add ourselves an interior offensive lineman here. Tackle, they got Fatanu and Broderick Jones, so I feel good about that. On the interior, I don't love many of these guys, but we got to pick somebody. Joshua Gray is a guy that had a good Shrine Bowl, not great. I always like to take Clay Webb here, though, in the 7th round for the majority of teams. Let's go Joshua Gray for this iteration. Oregon State, that's our guard. We got to get in. We got to get out. We're 10 minutes deep. We made 6 picks last 10 minutes. There's our draft grade. We got a C. Darius Alexander, they give us a wow, that's terrible. I can't even know if I can fix this on the screen. Doesn't really matter. They give us a C- for Darius Alexander, a B+ for RJ Harvey, a C- for Antoine Powell Ryland, a B+ for Kyle McCord, an F for Mac McWilliams from UCF, and a C for Joshua Gray, a C draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that's wrong. This is at least a B. Definitely wouldn't give it an A, but it's a B, and it's a classic, quintessential Pittsburgh Steelers draft. It's Draft Ranking Show. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. See you tomorrow.